YouTube? This is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 12 start and sit video for the wide receiver position. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys check out our other start and sit videos for the running back and quarterback position. And of course, if you guys have lineup questions, hit us up in the comments down below. Now, these are your obvious wide receivers you should put in your lineup no matter what. These guys are going to put up plenty of points and, of course, get plenty of opportunities. So, again, make sure you guys are doing that. Now, this is a great Thanksgiving week. We have some really good matchups for Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and, of course, Sunday, Monday. Now, the first receiver I'm going to mention as a good start is going to be Michael Pitman versus the Bucs. Bucs are one of the worst pass defensive teams in the league at this point. They just allowed a huge game for Brandon Ayuk, who had 5 receptions on 156 yards and a touchdown. Like, they made Brock Purdy look amazing. He had one of his best performances to date. With that said, you've got a nice little matchup for Michael Pittman. Now, I recommended Gardner Minshew as a nice little sleeper this past week. So because of this matchup, and Pittman being the clear wide receiver one, has a really good one here. Now, Bucs are allowing a touchdown per game and 20.2 points per game as well. You could even squeeze in Josh Downs. Now, there's obviously some injury concern there, so we've got to keep an eye on that. But I really like this matchup from Michael Pittman. It's a no-brainer. Another receiver I like, Mike Evans in that same game versus the Colts. Colts aren't great as well. They're not any better than the Bucs as far as dropping wide receivers. They're allowing 18.9 points to wide receivers, over 100 receiving yards, and about half the games to the wide receiver one. So matchup-wise, this is a good one for Mike Evans. I know Mike Evans hasn't been as consistent as we would love to have seen him because, again, I don't know if it's the offense or way it's play called. He's had some big drops here and there, but Mike Evans still is a great future, I'm going to call it, future Hall of Famer in this league. He's got a great matchup here against the Colts. Again, he had 12 targets last week. I know it didn't convert into a lot. I think it was only 5 receptions he converted of those 12, but he's seeing still plenty of targets, and I expect that similar result in this one for Mike Evans. Now, the other receiver I'm going to mention is going to be Romeo Dobbs versus the Lions. Look, Dobbs is a touchdown machine for Green Bay Packers. Look, last outing against the Lions, Dobbs put up 18 points, and that was with 13 targets. He had 9 receptions and 95 yards. Didn't score that game, but there's a good chance in this one that he can. Lions right now are allowing a touchdown per game and over 18 points to the wide receiver. So, of the receivers that are on this team, you've got Jaden Reed, obviously Romeo Dobbs, and Christian Watson. Of those three, I think Dobbs and Reed are the two that I feel really comfortable in playing this matchup because I think they do a good job of using their skill sets and allowing them to have some great opportunities. Watson, I'm not sure what's going on in this one. Could you start him? Sure. But I feel more confident in Dobbs and, of course, in Jaden Reed as well. Now, the first receiver I'm going to sit this week is going to be Terry McLaurin versus the Cowboys. Dallas has been tough against the pass. Tough in general, right? Like, the defense overall has been pretty good. Now, you've got a quarterback like it's Sam Howell who's going to throw a lot. I do think they're going to play behind. I do think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout in this one. I think both teams are going to be pretty close. But you've got two really good corners in Deron Bland, who is, I think, Defensive Player of the Year. And, of course, the best corner at this point, Stephon Gilmore, who does not get enough credit for what he's been able to do, covering, obviously, Johan Dotson, Terry McLaurin. Like, McLaurin's got a really tough matchup, and he hasn't been consistent anyways. Like, he's had some good matchups, and he's not putting up the traditional McLaurin-type numbers. Defense for the Dallas Cowboys are only 12.8 points allowed per game. Really tough matchup. I don't trust Scary Terry. Another receiver I'm not trusting this week is going to be Jamar Chase versus the Steelers. Now, this could definitely be a bit of an overreaction, right? You're going from Joe Burrow to Browning. Like, Burrow to Browning is not the same thing, and Chase is definitely going to disappear, unfortunately, with Burrow being down. The first 2 games of the season was kind of a glimpse, a little bit of flashback of what a life like a really hurt Burrow or no Burrow in general. I mean, Chase averaged, I think, 9 points a game in those first 2 games. Like, it was a bad one. And obviously you saw his game increase with Burrow and his health increasing due to that calf injury. Now you have no Burrow at all. Plus you're going against a team like the Steelers, who in the last 4 games have only averaged an allowance of 14 points a game. So they've done pretty well against wide receivers, and then now you've got a Jamar Chase who knows what's going to happen. Now, for you guys in Dynasty, and you're still doing trades, this might be a good time to possibly buy low on Chase for a team who's trying to contend right now. Maybe you've got a player that's a little bit older, but is putting up some points. Maybe like trading away a Stephon Diggs or something like that to get a young Jamar Chase for the future of your team. Just throwing that out there. Now, another receiver I'm going to sit this week is going to be Amari Cooper versus the Broncos. Look, that man Surtain is amazing. Like as a Cowboy fan, I wish he had gone to Dallas, but I'm glad we got Micah Parsons because Surtain is a shutdown corner. And now you're going to have him shadowing Amari Cooper in this game. Denver's been great defensively, especially in those wins they have. In the last 6 games, they're only allowing 9.21 points a game to wide receivers. There's going to be a lot to prove for DTR in this one. There's going to be a lot for this Browns to try to have a decent game against this Broncos team, but I think Broncos offense is just good enough to put up points, and their defense has been fantastic. I'm going to sit Amari Cooper. Now, my sleeper of the week is going to be Odell Beckham Jr. versus the Chargers. Now, I mentioned Odell in my waiver wire video because he's starting to show some signs of life, right? He had a great game, over 100 yards against the Bengals, and now he's going to have to step in where Mark Andrews obviously is out for most likely this season. I know that's kind of changed a little bit. So with Andrews out, Beckham should see an increase in targets, at least a consistent amount, right? There's some games he's getting 7 targets, and there's some games he's only getting 2. But I think he's going to get in the more inside as far as probably 7 to 8 targets in this matchup. The Chargers are not great. They're allowing 20 points a game to wide receivers. They're not great defensively against the pass. They can't seem to figure it out. I like Odell as a nice little sleeper this week. So those are my start sits and sleepers for week 12. If you guys haven't already, again, check out our other start and sit videos. Smash that subscribe button. Don't forget the like button as well. If you guys have questions for your lineups, hit up in the comments down below, and I'll check you guys out next time.